Hello everybody, this is Alice here of the YouTube channel bubbalubber, and today I'm here to show you a game called Fires of Eidolon. This is a game that, as you can see here, is going up on Kickstarter July 14th, which I believe by the time this goes up will be a couple of days past, though at the time of recording this I couldn't actually find out, so it's possibly gone up a couple of days late. Either way, to start off, for full disclosure, I won a preview copy, physical preview copy, sort of print and play-ish of this game in a competition. They sent me the preview copy to try out and get a bit of a hang of this game and try it out before I gave you guys my review. I also backed their previous game called Dark Rock Ventures over on Kickstarter, and will probably be kickstarting this game once it actually arrives on Kickstarter if I can afford to do so. So bear all that in mind when I get to the end and I give you my opinions on this game. For now, I'm going to start by going over the rules. So in Fires of Eidolon, you pick a team of up to 6 heroes. I've got 3 here as an example. I have the Paladin, the Ranger, and the Wizard, and I'll go over exactly what all of those do in just a moment. So the aim of the game is to destroy these 3 artifacts. You've got let's flip them over, there we go. So you've got the artifact of intelligence, which is the book, you've got the artifact of strength, which is the heart, and you've got the artifact of agility, which is the crystal. And then you've got the actual fire of Eidolon itself, the titular item in the game. And so the idea is you want to collect these tokens here, these status tokens, by completing quests in the dungeon. And once you gain 6 of them, if you gather them on a single character, you can smash these 3 artifacts by taking 6 tokens of the relevant type to them. And once you've managed to break all 3 of them, then you are able to collect the Fire of Eidolon itself. And so the players win the game by getting back to the entrance with the Fire of Eidolon in hand. And there are a couple of different levels of victory. Like, it's possible to partially win by getting the Fire of Eidolon out, but losing a couple of heroes along the way because they don't quite make it back in time. Or you can just fail because the entire dungeon implodes, which we'll get to in a short moment. You've also got the difficulty tracker here. I've gone with the very hard one as an example, and you can see where it starts and that each level it has different numbers of cards, and we'll get to what that means in just a second. So, on a player's turn, that player will select their character, and characters' turns will go in order. It'll always be the same order. So if you have, say, 3 people playing 2 characters each, you might have it so that each player uses one of their characters, then activates the others, and it will always be the same order. So during a player's turn, as you can see, each character has an AP value in the bottom middle there, which shows. Let me zoom in here so I can actually point with my mouse. So down here you have the action points of the character, and for all 6 of the characters that are actually in this preview set, I've only got 3 of them here, they all have 3 APs, so they act very much the same. You may make a variety of actions, and these actions are down the side here. So you've got moving, which costs just 1 action and lets you move between 2 tiles on the board. You've got explore, which is like a move action onto an open space. So for example, when any one of these would activate, they would have to explore. And so they would look at the top card of the pile, and so for example, say the green, which would be the ranger, explores this way, she would place the Minotaur room right there. And whenever you place a new room, you take one of these status tokens and place it on the relevant room. So there are a total of 7 rooms of each status type in the dungeon deck here, in the deck of tiles. So there are enough tokens here to put one on every single room should you need to. So in the case of here, so place the new tile on, place the token on the tile, and then the ranger would move through onto the tile it just explored. The next action is exchanging. You can use one action to swap about any amount of tokens between two heroes that are on the same tile. This is useful because you need to make sure that all 6 of those skill tokens are on the same character so that character can take them to destroy the artifact. I'm going to throw out a couple more dungeon tiles here. So as you can see, we got a couple more varieties of rooms. You've got a dexterity room here and an intelligence room here, and then you've got the first of the objective rooms, the Shadow Heart, at which point you would put the Shadow Heart token onto that room to signify that it's there, at which point any of the characters would have to take 6 of these strength tokens to that room in order to shatter it. And then you've also got the crystal room, which I'm going to stick on there because why not, and the book room. And these can appear at any time because this deck gets shuffled randomly. I've set up here specifically to have this set up. So once you've got all of them out, and none of these 4 rooms can be connected directly to the starting room. Once you've got all 4 of these out and have actually smashed all 3 of these, you are able to collect the Fire of Eidolon. And once you've picked it up, you are able to try and take it back to the entrance for victory. The next action you can do is to attack, which is these little cultist guys. Through various means, they can be through the ritual cards, they can be spawned within the dungeon, and if at any point there is a ritualist, a cultist on the same space as one of your characters, they can use one of their actions to attack them, and it will just that was an accident, and it will just automatically remove the token. There's no need to roll any dice. The cultist just dies. They're not very strong. They're just using their magical means to try and take you out a different way. You can also wait, just pass your turn. You can also challenge and skills. So challenging is when you attempt to break one of these, and so it costs 1 action to break them. And in order to successfully challenge one of these, you require the relevant amount of status tokens. And in the case of the Fire of Eidolon, in order to challenge that room, you need to have previously broken all 3 of these. So you can see sort of where the general flow of the gameplay goes, trying to get a load of these rooms out so you can gain the status tokens from them, the skill tokens I mean, before finally trying to find and destroy all 3 of these and then grab the fire before trying to make your escape. Pretty simple little gameplay loop. Then you've got the skill. Another thing you can do with challenges is to challenge these normal rooms to get these skill tokens. And so let's grab the paladin, bring him over here, there and there. There we go. So in order to challenge a room and gain the skill token, the required amount, it has a varied amount of action points required. So if I look over here at the ranger, you can see that the ranger has 3 stars in dex and has a little 1 AP below it, 2 stars in strength and 1 star in intelligence. And so in order to successfully challenge a room for the skill token, you're required to spend 4 AP minus the number of stars that hero has in that relevant stat. So for example, the paladin here would only require one action point in order to challenge this strength token and add that to her loot basically. If they were on this one, on the dex one, it would take all 3 of her action points an entire turn just to pick it up. Nope, I keep on grabbing the wrong thing. Meanwhile, if the paladin was on this one, it would only take 2 action points. And so generally you want a good mix of heroes like I've picked here, and you'll usually want heroes of the same type to be going for the right tokens so that you can use your actions as efficiently as possible, though that's not always incredibly easy to do due to the random nature of how these tiles are placed, with them being randomly drawn from this deck of dungeon cards, basically. So once you've used, you've also got sorry about this. You've also got the character's skills, which are shown on the right there. You have the top skill, which is the standard skill, and some of them, like the Ranger's Sight, are passive skills that don't actually require AP, whereas some, like Object Portal, actually require you to use an action point in order to use them. So about that, needed a drink. And so the white skills, the top ones, you can use them any amount of times throughout the game. The bottom skill, which I believe on all of them so far requires a full turn to activate, those are the master skills, and they are once per game abilities, and they are very powerful. For example, the Paladin's ability, which lets you kill a cultist anywhere in the dungeon and automatically kill any cultists that are adjacent to her. So, very powerful ability and definitely worth using once per game. And so, once you've used all three of your actions to do whatever you want, you then draw one of these ritual cards, or well, you draw a number of ritual cards as specified on the difficulty tracker. So, for example, if I were to end my turn here, I would draw one ritual card, and it's the Minotaur. So, since the Minotaur card is in play, I would take a ritual card and stick it on there, and then this would go to the discard pile. If, say, I were to draw one and it's the Pendulum Blades in this example, at the moment the Pendulum Blades isn't in place, so no ritualists, no cultists, would be added to the board, and that card just gets discarded. Once all of these have been activated, once you've gone through the entire deck, the deck gets flipped over, it gets shuffled. I won't shuffle it in this case as an example. And every time the deck gets reshuffled back in, the difficulty track goes up by one stage. So as you can see, the longer the game goes on, the more cards you're going to be drawing. Now, if you reveal a ritual card and it's for a tile that already has a cultist on it, and a second cultist gets placed on it, then that's really bad, because that means they have been able to finish their ritual, and any heroes that are on the space get a quick chance to move out of the way. They get a chance to move off of the tile that the ritual is taking place on. However, it will cost them an extra action to get back up off their feet, as they basically dive to the floor to make it out, and then the tile is removed from the game completely, and any skill tokens associated with it are also lost to the void, as well as that room's actual ritual card. They're all lost to the void. So you want to try and avoid this happening as much as possible, because the more of these that are lost, the smaller this deck is, and the quicker this is going to ramp up, and if it reaches the top, you just lose. You also have to worry about if two of the same skill token are actually lost through the rituals going off and sending these tiles to the void. That is actually a lose condition, because it means you then do not physically have enough of these skill tokens available on the board at all to smash that status. So if a second one of these was lost to the void through say the Fell Knight getting destroyed, then then that would be a loss, because then unfortunately there aren't enough strength skill tokens to break the heart, and it's impossible for the players to win the game from there. Likewise, if this deck has run out of cards and all the players are separated from the entrance, that again, it becomes pretty much impossible to win the game and you lose. So, and that this happens after every hero's activation. So, in this case, it'd be Paladin activates, would say explore and does that, and move on, and then ends, and then a ritual card's drawn. Then the Ranger goes about and does a few moves, and then they draw a ritual card, etc., etc. So I think I've covered everything there for how you actually play this game. So I'm going to move on to my final summary and my final thoughts on this game. So I quite enjoy this game. I've run it a few times solo as I tried to, because you can play this solo and just control all of the heroes yourself. You can also play it in a group of up to 6 players, with each player taking control of one of the heroes. Or in the case of some smaller games, some players controlling multiple heroes. And so far, I've been quite enjoying it. It's a very analytical game. It requires a lot of planning and thinking ahead and a lot of strategy to it. Though once you have, there's a strategy that doesn't change very much. It's a kind of game where if this is your sort of thing, you'll love it. If this kind of game where like the randomness that there is, you can't really control it too much. There's a few certain methods to try and mitigate the randomness of this, because you could end up with just all of the special tokens just right at the bottom at the end, and likewise you could just have all of the, you could say, for example, have a, say for example, if this flips over, oh, Pendulum Blades, if the Pendulum Blades was out, that'd be one cultist token, and then the deck gets reshuffled, and then before the next player's turn goes, before someone can actually deal with the thing on the Pendulum Blades, it comes back up again and immediately destroys it. That is something that can quite often just ruin a run because it's just destroyed a crucial skill token. So it's got some randomness elements that you don't really have a massive amount of control over. You can use strategies to prepare for it a bit, but for the most part, this game is not a huge amount of variety in how you're going to play it. The variety comes from just, I guess the variety and replayability comes from these difficulties, just trying to, I guess it's sort of like a game of chess almost, where you're trying to, everything is very, very methodical. You know roughly how you're going to play it out, and the skill and strategy comes from how you deal with what this ritual deck throws at you and how you deal with constructing the dungeon in a way that actually connects together. Because when you enter a new room, you have to have at least the entrance of that room attaching to the room that you just came from. Beyond that, there's no rules, so you can very easily, like for example, if I bring these guys back here, if I bought this room and I placed it like that, that is also a legal placement for that room, but it completely ruins the flow of the dungeon and makes it all very difficult to actually try and get over here to help whoever's over here. So again, my final thoughts is personally, I found it quite fun. It's the kind of very sort of, you need to think about your moves. There's a lot of sort of strategies. Everything becomes almost mechanical in a way to once you get really used to this game and know how things are going to work. There's a very what's the word? I forget the word, but But yeah, so hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to get across with that. But for me, it's very fun. For others, from some of the people in my group, they haven't found it as fun, but they can definitely see where the fun comes from. And so, if from this rules preview, it seems like this might be the sort of game you might enjoy, then definitely consider going and backing Fires of Eidolon on Kickstarter. Again, this is by Magic Meeple Games. Had not a huge amount of oh my god, my brain is just not working tonight. I haven't dealt with them too much in the past. As I said, I have backed their previous game, Dark Rock Ventures. However, that is yet to arrive quite yet. It should be arriving soon, so I don't know how. So I don't have any anything I physically received from them just yet in to gauge how good the general quality of their stuff is. But so far, from the looks of it, it's looking very good, and it looks like it will be a great game when it arrives, and this looks to follow in their steps. So hopefully this whole video has been helpful for you, and I will catch you all next time.